Diogenes, born in Turkey, moving to Athens, got his start as a philosopher doing what he did best and would most famously be known for, being a thorn in the side of everyone around him. He started this illustrious career by defacing currency, allegedly, getting himself evicted from his native city and finding himself dropped into the Greek scene and latching on to antiseptic as a student. This really didn't go over well at first, as he was refused, but utilizing the "if I just keep asking" method, he eventually won him over. Antithesis was a companion of Socrates, founding the school of cynicism. Now, the modern term of the word conjures images of edgy teens vaping on the street corner, talking about how terrible the world has become, but in its time was more about the rejection of social conventions, living closer to our more base nature, but not necessarily the abandonment of the search for wisdom. This would be amplified to level 11 by Diogenes. Plato may have described Diogenes as a Socrates gone mad, abandoning everything he didn't find absolutely necessary for life. This may have included basic hygiene. Instead of a house, he lived in either a wine cask or an abandoned bathtub. That right there is some tasty situational irony. Owning so little to pursue his goal that his one possession, a cup, was eventually abandoned when he realized he could just drink water from his hands. Thank you, small child, for showing him that. He spent much of his time generally acting as an insane homeless man who somehow was also amazingly well versed in philosophy and able to argue with the best. One reported story proving this comes from Plato, when he was asked to answer the question, at its simplest, "What is a man?" He determined the answer to be a featherless bipedal. Diogenes heard this and promptly plucked a chicken, declared that he'd found a man. Trolling turns out to be a very ancient art and capable of merit. Another story of him states that the Athenians tossed him bones, calling him a dog. Humoring them, he lifted his leg and proceeded to urinate on them. Somehow, someway, this endeared the city to him. Go figure. And when his makeshift home was broken by a child, they beat the tar out of that child and replaced his home. Kindness granted to him, Diogenes probably really didn't give a single hoot, as it was a physical possession, and of course, he really wasn't wild on such trappings. Unconventional maybe, but folk heroes often are. He was admired by Alexander the Great. Yeah, that one. The guy who would go on to be the ruler of most of the civilized world at the time as we recognize it today. He graciously offered to aid him, to which, with some excitement, Diogenes accepted this offer by requesting he get out of his sunlight. His Royal Highness is making it hard to get a decent tan. Before getting up and making another round around the city with a lantern in the daylight, holding it to random people's face, declaring he was looking for just one honest man. At some point he was captured by pirates and sold into slavery in Corinth. Ever being on the side of cheeky, he declared that he was a governing man and instructed the slavers that he should be sold to Zenidas because he needed a master. Rolling a natural 20, somehow he pulled this off, becoming admired by the family, serving as a tutor, and then becoming admired by the city itself. He died around age 90, either by food poisoning, rabies, or somehow, someway, suicide by holding his breath. While that doesn't work, it seems somehow poetic that his stubborn attitude would make this actually happen. Diogenes may have appeared crazy, but his entire goal may actually have been to demonstrate his philosophy at its absolute extremes, not necessarily as the end-all be-all advocation of how to live. In reality, he likely would have been just fine with us living a little bit more minimally and not just abandoning all of our possessions, trying to live a simpler, cleaner life. Also, there are statues of him. Take that, Sister Hazel!